In a world that is more divided than ever before, the importance of the truth cannot be understated. And yet, in the last few years, the truth is not only something that's become obscured behind political agendas, but has been warped to conform to our identities. The consequence of not being able to foster open communication between the left and the right is violence. Where before we could disagree in a civil manner with mere peaceful protests, we now live in an era where free speech is being suppressed on both sides. When the lines of communication break down and we're no longer willing or able to find common ground, physical escalation becomes the only recourse. At the root of this problem is tribalism. We all have an innate evolutionary desire to join a tribe, and once we decide which group we belong to, we want to believe that it's right. If someone challenges the common beliefs of the group, it is now seen not just as a challenging of our ideas, but an attack on members of our tribe. When an idea threatens our worldview and the well-being of the group, we use cognitive distortions to protect our identity. Confirmation bias is used to selectively choose which evidence to pay attention to, so that it remains in line with our preconceived ideas. Because if there's a conflict between our beliefs and what we know is true, an uncomfortable anxiety results that needs to be resolved. This is what we call cognitive dissonance.
According to psychologist Leon Festinger, whenever we choose to do something that conflicts with our prior beliefs, feelings, or values, a state of cognitive dissonance is created in us.
And it can be dealt with by changing our beliefs in line with the evidence, or warping our perception of the evidence to bring it in line with our beliefs.
When this tension makes us uncomfortable enough, we're motivated to reduce it in a number of ways. We may change the way we think about the decision, or try to change how others think about it so that they can support our decision. Or we may change some aspect of our behavior so that our decision seems more in character with us. In other words, we try to reduce the dissonance between how we think we should act and how we actually act by changing one or the other.
In order not to feel uncomfortable tension between our beliefs, we warp the facts to conform with our new social surroundings. But those surroundings are often echo chambers, where the same ideas bounce off the walls in a perpetual state of reverberation, amplifying in their intensity and pushing each other to the extreme. When moderate people engage in discussion with people of similar views, something called group polarization occurs, where a person's previous idea becomes more extreme, even when presented with evidence contrary to their belief.
We need to open our eyes. There's over 2 million illegal immigrants bedding down in this state tonight. This state spent $3 billion last year on services for those people who had no right to be here in the first place. $3 billion. $400 million just to lock up a bunch of illegal immigrant criminals who only got into this country because the fucking INS decided it's not worth the effort to screen for convicted felons. Who gives a shit? Our government doesn't give a shit. Our border policy is a joke. So is anybody surprised that south of the border they're laughing at us? Laughing at our laws?
Yeah.
And this isn't something that's going on far away. This isn't something that's happening places we can't do anything about it. It's happening right here. Right in our neighborhood, right in that building behind you. So look around you. This isn't our fucking neighborhood, it's a battlefield. We're on a battlefield tonight.
One explanation for this is the social comparison theory, which proposes that we do this in order to gain acceptance in the group. And in order to do so, we need to provide a slightly more extreme version than everyone else to appear as a leader. Everyone is trying to one-up each other and prove that they are more right than the other members of the in-group. This can manifest itself as violent far-right political groups, far-left groups such as Antifa, or mobs of university students who corner dissenting professors on campus.
I am sick looking at you. I am disgusted watching Alex argue with you. You were not listening. You were disgusting.
at me. Yes. Look at me.
They think that I'm a racist. Because if you stand up against one of these things because you think it's ill-considered, that you will be branded as a racist.
We just wanted to be like, until you're accountable for these actions, you don't get to teach students at Evergreen. You don't get to spread this problematic rhetoric and instill it in students.
You have created space for violence.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
You don't get a choice here.
I disagree that I've fostered violence. I disagree with that statement.
Such groups will resort to extreme measures in order to silence the voices of the other side. In the absence of civil discussion between the two sides, peaceful protests quickly descend into chaos. We need to return to civil discussion. We have to return to a society where free speech is not only tolerated, but valued.
We must come to see that the end we seek is a society at peace with itself, a society that can live with its conscience. And that will be a day not of the white man, not of the black man. That will be the day of man as man.
As any scientist will tell you, the truth is not easy to determine, especially when there's evidence to support both sides. We like it when things are simple, but reality is more complex and nuanced than we like to believe. The truth is hard enough to discern without involving our identities, emotions, and beliefs.
When you get shut off because someone believes a certain thing, it's like, how are we ever going to get anywhere?
I would say that science is the poetry of reality.
If you're reasoning honestly about facts, then the color of your skin is irrelevant. The religion of your parents is irrelevant. Whether you're gay or straight is irrelevant. Your identity is irrelevant. In fact, if you're talking about reality, its character can't be predicated on who you happen to be. Right? That's what it means to be talking about reality.
What matters is not who is saying the truth, but what's being said. Instead of distorting the facts to fit moral values of our group, we should see the evidence as a neutral arbitrator that is neither good nor bad. It crosses party lines. It doesn't care about your beliefs. It doesn't care about what group you belong to.
I will never require you to believe anything.
Good for you. Well done.
It will only ever be about how compelling is the evidence to you.
While we can divide and distort our social groups, fracturing humanity into more extreme segments, the truth is indivisible. There are no alternative facts. Our perceptions do not change what's true. The truth just is, and we need to become its voice.